I walked into the shelter and he was in a kennel, and he looked even sadder in real life than in the picture, and he just broke my heart. I actually had to leave because it made me so sad, especially when I knew I couldn't do anything about it. It was International Cat Day 2019, and I was scrolling through my feed on Instagram when I came across a post made by the Animal Humane Society in Minnesota. And it was a video of a cat named Bruce Willis. It said that he was a former tomcat who had likely lived outside for several years. And this is in Minnesota, where the winters get really cold too. And you could tell because he had so many scars, and yeah, you can just see it on his face that he had lived a rough life. He also has FIV, and that means his immune system is just weaker than other cats. At the time, I wasn't planning on getting a cat, and I was also not allowed to have any pets according to my lease, so I knew there was nothing I could do. But then still I came back a couple of days later, and this time he was very sick. So he was in a cat room with one other cat. He had a cold and he was just sleeping. He barely registered that I was there even as I was petting him. At one point he did get up though, and he drank some water, and that's when I saw his eyes for the first time. That was the first time he fully opened them, and at that point I thought that this was the way he looked. But then I went home, sadder than ever, and of course I came back a couple of days later again. And this time he was in a kennel again. He had more energy, but one of his eyes was looking really bad. This time I decided that if he hasn't gotten adopted by a certain date, I'm gonna ask my landlord. And then when that day came, no one still had adopted him, even though it had been weeks, almost a month after the Instagram post. So I did what I had promised myself, and I had promised it to him too. So I did ask my landlord. I went to the shelter first just to make up my mind for sure, and then on my way home I texted my landlord and asked them if I could get a cat. Later that night they said that sure, why not, I could adopt him. I want to say I got super happy, but to be honest I kind of freaked out because I was like, oh my god, here I am getting this sick cat. And then the next day I did go back to get him. And as the staff at the shelter was talking to me about his condition and everything related to his health, I was just sitting there. I'm like, what have I gotten myself into? They also told me he would need at least 2 of his teeth extracted, and I just knew that was gonna be expensive. So it would be expensive from the get-go. And but then I just looked at him sitting there in his little room, and I knew that I couldn't leave him there.
Hi.
You going home today?
Yeah.
So I got him, and I brought him home.
Welcome home, Bruce. Welcome home.
That's just you. And I think he knew from almost right away that he was home, because I don't think I've ever seen a happier cat in my life before. He looked around a little bit, but then he just lay down on the floor and started purring. And he was so happy. He didn't stop purring all night. And then since that day, he has followed me around no matter where I go.